Hello, I'm Katie Elizabeth, and I'd like to welcome you to my vlog, entitled, On My Soapbox. Hello, today I'm on my soapbox about division and the dynamics of division. Scripture tells us there's 4 kinds of people, so any good leader or good divider is going to have 4 components or elements to their plan. That way everyone gets to feel personally involved and no one is basically omitted. On the most basic of human levels, however, when it comes to division, it's always going to boil down to the fear that one group wants to take the rights or rewards from the other group. The topics or variables they ultimately become irrelevant, but at the beginning, they are the variables. The constants are the rights versus rewards, or the earnings versus entitlements. The constant is the versus. The first order of division is a topic that will inspire debate. Now, we all watch the presidential debates. In my land, we found everything about the debate to discuss and dissect. Whether it was their tie or the way they sat, the way they greeted each other. I mean, everything was open to dissection. And ultimately, the debate, a topic in a debate, of course, leads to a disagreement. Now, the disagreement is not just the facts debated, but disagreement has some passion, has some emotions in it. Oftentimes morals, and it's different the way people define their morals in an argument, but the disagreement, it begins to take root in the emotions of a human being rather than just, analyzing the facts, here's the information. Once there's a disagreement and someone has feelings about it, the next step is dissonance, which involves some action. It involves finding like-minded people or discussing it, furthering your cause. And usually here in America, that is most easily done by donations of time or money. And people donate their time in a lot of ways. It isn't just, at the headquarters or door-to-door or phone soliciting. People do this in their personal life. They do this by the time they spend being reinforced through radio, internet, television. It doesn't matter. They give it their time. It becomes an important part of their life. It's a focus. And then, once they've involved their time or their money, they're invested. And once a person's invested, there's some ownership. Therefore, it becomes a personal, it's like my cause. So therefore, anyone who disagrees with that particular topic or issue is now disagreeing with me. And then you have to wonder, now what's wrong with them that they would disagree? Why can't they see what I'm seeing? And the discredit starts to take place. Discrediting this other person in their perspective, their thinking, their logic. It doesn't really matter. What the basis is, finding something wrong with disagreeing is to discredit someone. And the concept is founded on not just wrong, but then it has to be analyzed. Are their morals lacking? Is there something about them that I should be watching? Are they, is there any kind of ill intent, or are they just ignorant? It's that sort of analysis that then leads to the disgrace of the opposite view. If you're not for, you're against, the them and us mentality. And I can tell you, politically and religiously, we see that in this country a lot. I'll just use my politics as an example. I'm apolitical. My blog is apolitical. I think both sides are just looking for trouble and not solutions. That's what I think. So therefore, in a conversation though, if a person is left-leaning and a Democrat, they find me very conservative. And if they are right-leaning and Republican, they find me very liberal. So by default, I become the enemy on both sides of that argument. So I try to avoid those. But anyway, that's why I'm sitting here talking to a camera and putting on a vlog. Now, by default, enemy sides are chosen. But see, what's happened from the debate to the disagreement, to the dissonance, to the discredit, to the disgracing, to the default, now the main issue has become who we disagree with, not the original issue. And now each of the opposing sides believe their values and views are discounted by the other group. And then there's this little word here in America, politically, that those who refuse to choose sides or think it's all goofy are labeled dissidents. But all great dividers know it's always going to boil down to, if you want to divide, there's a fear factor. And they're going to know that it always boils down to presenting an issue that divides people who are afraid they will lose their rights or their rewards, entitlements versus earnings. They're always going to have that fear based on a versus that divides. And once we've taken the debate to a disagreement, dissonance, discredit, disgrace, the place of impasse is now firmly established. And as we can see in our own history, it's like we've gone past the point of no return in this division business. In religion, division is called denominations. And in politics, it's called dissension. This vlog has been brought to you by the letter D and the number 4. I'm glad you joined me for this episode of On My Soapbox. This is KD Elizabeth, and I approve this message.